Welcome you guys.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
We're stuck in a cave. Smile.
What kind of business?
Positive.
No, I mean, I
Be
keep
careful, your mom's watching this here.
I know. Like, I want to do this podcast for so long, and
Tell me, man.
yeah, you know.
What's the name called again? DMC, yeah?
DMC.
Why guys?
We need
What does DMC mean? What does DMC mean? Deep, meaningful conversations. Hey guys, welcome to our first ever episode for DMC podcast. My name is Rahul and we have two very special guests today. My dear friends Nash and Ashiq. Welcome you guys. Welcome
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Look at that.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. So how's work? How's life, man?
Bro, work's good, man. Obviously,
Look at the energy. Look at the energy.
As you can tell, I've got no energy.
This is
Yeah.
Finish
also
work.
work ethic.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Today's topic. Do you
Yes.
guys know what it is?
No, apparently it's a secret.
It's a secret. Oh my god. Okay, guys, the topic that we're going to discuss today is something very common. Like I myself had to go through it, like to do this podcast. I think we can all connect to it. I think everyone who's seeing can connect to it. It's a very common topic. When we have a new dream, everyone has dreams. Everyone wants to do things, but in what attitude do we approach it? When I say attitude, I'm not talking about a vague, any attitude. I'm talking about nervousness, anxiety, and fear, and procrastination, and we want to do it, but we can't do it. Like we haven't done it. It's been a dream for so long. Like I want to do this podcast for so long, and
Tell me, man.
yeah, you know.
2 years, man.
Yeah, and finally I'm doing it. So I've gone through this process, and I think I've seen in this 2 years I've seen a lot of people go through it as well in different versions, from doing a daily task to all the way, life-changing decisions like proposing to someone or accepting an interview. Big decisions. Still, like we want to do it, but we can't. We can't make up our mind. Okay, cool. So I want to ask you guys if you guys have any moments like that you guys go through. Or is it just me?
Definitely we do. I mean, there's lots of such situations in our life
Uh-huh.
where we want to do something and we just can't achieve it, probably because of family problems. Probably we don't know how to prioritize things. For instance, think about people looking for a job change, people looking for, let's say, moving from one country to another. Those people struggle a lot. I mean, in my case, I moved from the Middle East to the UK. It wasn't an easy decision, of course.
Why did you leave Dubai, man?
Brexit.
For me, I think most recently, it was a job change that took place. It was all out of nowhere, happened out of nowhere. So I had to be quick on my feet, and if I was even if I had a single percent in my mind that was gonna be depressed about it or upset about it or scared about it, I don't think I would have been able to jump into
Yeah. I
you
can
know,
connect, man. Yeah.
my new
I'm going
job.
through that right now.
You going through that right now?
No, I mean I can
Be
connect.
careful, your mom's watching this here.
I know. No, I'm just saying. I mean, this is such a common thing. Everyone goes through this nervousness and anxiety, and I think forget anxiety. Anxiety is a huge word. I'm talking about nervousness. Like we get nervous about everything.
Yeah,
True.
Imagine running the Olympics. It must be crazy. They get nervous as well. Like everyone gets nervous.
Yeah, do you feel like Ronaldo gets nervous?
I don't know.
I
He's so
saw it.
confident.
I saw it.
He's so
He
confident.
looks confident.
He's so confident. I'm telling you.
I saw an interview where he said,
I'm
human."
the best. I'm the best.
No,
He
he
said
actually
that.
said, I'm human as well.
Yeah.
There's an interview where he goes, I'm human as well, and then he goes, I do get nerves as well, but I think you should watch it. It's the way he deals with nerves
he deals
before
with
the
it.
games and stuff.
That's true.
He's got this ritual apparently that he's got to wear the same type of socks, kisses his shin pads,
Really?
and then all of that stuff. It's got this step-by-step procedure that he does before going into the game that kind of helps him apparently.
Probably that's his way to escape out of the nervousness. Usually people try to tend to look for escapism. I mean, how to get out of nervousness. Just imagine we have exam tomorrow. During when I was a teenager, every time before the exam, I don't get to sleep. I mean, I'm so anxious about the day next day. Even though I'm prepared well or not prepared well, I'm always anxious and very nervous about what's gonna be the outcome. How am I gonna do the paper? Maybe it might be easier, it might be hard.
It constantly runs in your mind.
Keeps running, of course.
Keeps running in
the mind, and we look for ways in which we can just escape from it. And probably I think Ronaldo's ways of wearing the same sock, wearing the same sort of procedures
I don't know. I've seen a lot of like even basketball players and like everyone like they have these beliefs that like if they do a certain thing then it kind of gets them the victory.
I think it's the comfort zone.
It's
sticking to the comfort zone. Doing.
Why do you think? Why do you think we feel nervous?
Just imagine like when we were a child we used to be nervous. As we grow older in our life, we just try to hide it but we end up being nervous.
So true.
Because we just want to show that we're adults.
That's
we
true.
can't be nervous.
And I feel like when we're growing, like we have to face more in life.
I have more freedom.
And because if you think about it, someone's brain dead, they don't feel nervous. Because they don't have a brain. You need to have a certain level of brain to feel nervous, right?
Yeah.
You need to have a certain level of brain to feel nervous. Like,
what are you
To be
trying to say, man?
I'm just saying.
Actually, you have to be sane.
What, you can't feel nervous.
No.
Sorry guys, I'm not offending anyone.
No, but if someone's not nervous, I think like you got to have some sort of brain to feel nervous. I honestly believe that. And I think if you're not, like you said, when we're kids, we don't feel nervous much because we're not faced with that much. But like when we're growing in life, or even now, if someone who's not growing versus someone who is just settled and don't want to do much in life, pretty chill life, but someone who is like every day going through like hardship, they are nervous in every task they do, every step they take. They're kind of like getting hit with anxiety and like uncertainty. Let's put it that way. Like you're meeting clients every day. You don't know what's gonna happen, and you got to be confident.
That's true. My opinion is like children they really don't care about the environment.
Mm-hmm.
So who is there around them, they don't care. I mean, they really show their anger, they show their frustration, they show their nervousness. I mean, that's the nature of child. But when you grow old, right, we really care about our environment. Just imagine sitting in your office, like you try to control your anger. Sometimes you really want to shout at people.
Manager.
You can't do that. That's like holding it all in, bro.
We're just controlling.
Maybe you know what I say to my interviews? I say I like working well under pressure. That basically means I've got 1 week to a deadline and I'm doing my coursework like the night before. That's me working under pressure. But why don't we grew up, and as we grew up, we somehow learned to hide our expressions, our emotions, and our nerves. Whereas when we were kids, we didn't know how to hide it. Right.
Even now, do you really hide it?
We do sometimes. Of
I'd
course.
say I do.
Depending on your environment, like I'm not going to show my anger at every single place.
Not anger. I'm talking about
just frustration, or maybe nervousness.
Yeah.
Because it really depends.
You don't want to seem weak, innit?
Yeah,
you don't want to show your weakness to everyone.
Wait, so being nervous is weak. Interesting.
Unfortunately, yes, it is.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Interesting.
Child is nervous probably because they show the nervousness because they know that someone around them is going to help them to come out of this weakness. But we being an adult, when we show this nervousness, literally no one's going to come to help us. Like in that situation, of course, family members, friends would come at a later stage. But at that point in time, we are helpless. So that's probably the way I look at it.
I get you. You got to put that mask on sometimes to be confident. And it's I think it was Michael Jordan. He said once that if you're not nervous, then I think you're not doing much in life. Like
you don't care. You're not passionate about.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Someone who's running is feeling nervous. Someone who's just standing is not, because you're growing in life. I think it's like a factor of growth, right? I mean, you feel nervous because you're doing challenging things in life. Yeah. You feel nervous because you're doing things beyond your comfortability zone. If you're just sitting in your zone, I don't think you're feeling nervous.
So I guess it should be normal, isn't it?
Yeah, it should be normal. As a person who wants to run, who wants to achieve, and who wants to grow, how are we going to balance that nervousness to be confident? Because, like you said, you put a mask on. So what kind of different techniques do you guys use to convert that nervousness to?
For me, I just pretend. I just pretend to be okay. Have you seen that meme when there's that guy who's sweating and everything? He's just like, I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Now
that's you, yeah.
I think most of the time, like when I do get nervous, it'll be like it's like in an interview they ask you a really tough question, and then instead of saying you don't know, you go the long way around it and start trying to answer the question, but you're not really answering the question, and then at the end you just look stupid.
I feel like everyone can get on, because you might have a different skill that you use to hide your nerves. Like every interview I go to, I'm nervous. Trust me, and I feel like that nervousness actually helped me.
Yeah.
I actually feel like that nervousness actually helped me when I go for an interview. Yeah, I mean, different people has different opinions. So, what's your opinion on how do you face nervousness? How do you convert that?
I mean, in terms of like, if we're talking about like interview situations,
Right.
What I've started to do is like think of the interview as more of a communication, like a conversation, rather than like and I've stopped preparing answers, man. It's
it's the same classic answer, isn't it?
It's like I've stopped
Tell me
preparing
something
answers.
wise.
It's like I want to make it more natural and make it more seem like a conversation. Every time I've prepared or anything like that, is when I've come with like an unexpected question or something, I'll go blank. Rather go in like ready, and then just have a conversation, and just look at the person like he wants, like you want them rather than he wants you, kind of thing. So that's the way I kind of do it. What about you? You're a manager. What do you do?
Yeah, man.
You're the interviewer.
That sounds interesting.
You're the interviewer. You're the one making people nervous.
You're the one that's making us nervous.
Like you said, definitely. I do also have nervousness. Of course, I do go through it. And like you said, like everyone, we just hide it. But my mechanism to like come out of nervousness, I would say, is to stay calm. Like what you just said, like how he handles interviews, like through, making it like a conversation rather than getting prepared fully for an interview and then face the questions and then feel like some things that you really don't know how to face it. So rather, if you are a person who is like can build up conversations, can stay calm and focused in what you do, I think that's the way like we can get out of nervousness. Another mechanism I feel like is why do we end up having nervousness? It's probably because we're trying something risky. I mean, every risk that we take, we tend to be nervous because that shows us our weakness. The risk, when we face the risk, we are weak. So how do we face it? Like I say, do calculated risks. I mean, be prepared for it. Be prepared through your mental, abilities. Staying calm. Just imagine, like, if you're really nervous, will your productivity be up to the mark? I would say no. I've seen people when they are nervous, they don't, even myself including, when I'm nervous, I can't give my full potential. But if I'm not nervous, if I stay calm, if I stay focused, I would rather give better and probably even converse better, right? Yeah. So that's my mechanism, I believe. What's your take on this?
I do have a lot of nervous period I go through before I approach something. Mainly because I want to say perfectionist, but I like to do things clean. Like if I'm doing something, I want to do it like so good that I get so nervous that I don't even end up doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Procrastination, yes. Happens with everyone, yes. So this thing, immediately what comes to my mind is, you just said like you want to be a perfectionist. I mean, that's entirely what most people will end up trying to be. But, with one step, you cannot be a perfectionist. So I feel like, in software technology, we use this term called incremental development. So for doing, to make a perfect software, we incrementally work towards building it up. Like, we have like sprint cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, until like n cycles, until we reach the perfect state. So I feel like, anything we want to achieve in life, we have to try to do in small steps. Take small steps, and then finally, at one point in time, we'll end up being that perfectionist. I mean, in any task, be it like a task that you want to do on a daily activity, probably like cooking. Right. First time you try to cook a biryani, maybe it doesn't end up being really good.
I remember this biryani. I don't even want.
Those who don't know, I made some epic biryani for them, and it came out so nice.
Well, was that chicken or like what dinosaur meat, bro?
We talking all
chicken, man.
Yeah. So, there was a story of this old man. He was dying. He was in his deathbed. Yeah. I know. Well, it's DMC, it's deep meaningful conversation. So
wow. So I like that.
Okay, so basically, the guy was like, I had more troubles in my life that affected me that didn't actually happen. Does it make sense?
So he was scared for nothing, for things that did not happen anyway.
Yeah, and this was like one of his last words. Like when he died, the point is like. He was scared about a lot of things, and I feel like when people get old and people at different ages, we have different fears and different anxiety, and things like that. Oh my god, it's that deep. You guys are like so deep.
It's too deep, yeah.
Sorry,
Have to
He
go
said
and
some
you
old man died, man. That's like feeling emotional for this guy.
sorry. I mean,
And that's the
it's-
last thing he said as well. That's deep.
Wow.
it's a story. I'm just trying to say how deep it is. That sometimes life can be simple. If you put it, life can be simple.
I feel like the situation you're facing, I mean, defines like how you react to it, and your reaction towards that situation defines your next steps. And,
Yeah.
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 So if you're nervous, I mean, you're probably your next steps is probably based on that nervousness. And if you're actually really anxious and you're really eager towards it, then I mean, your next steps are probably based on that mindset. So for me, nervousness, weakness, being confident, staying calm, everything defines the state of mind, and that defines the next step that we will be taking, probably in our decisions. So it's how we look at any problem. Like it could be, like you just said, it could be a problem of us traveling, riding a bike, or probably getting married, or finding the right goal, first date. So I look at this as like, you know, I'm a science student. I mean, most of us are. So I look everything as a problem statement, and how do we look for solutions for that particular problem? I mean, one of those ingredients or factors is how do we react to it. And like you just said, our entire topic is about nervousness. So nervousness is like one of the most important factor. I feel like it's part and parcel of our like growth. From being a child, we are nervous. I mean, the moment you're nervous, you have a parent, your mom, dad, they come to you, they make you confident, they say, okay, you know what, my baby, don't be scared, I'm here for you. I mean, that's the thing that we all need in our life. I mean, why be nervous? That's because we are helpless. Probably we are helpless. We don't know what's going to happen next.
You're on your own.
Yeah. So I feel like, I mean, we are just nervous. That's because it's our intuitive way to express our helplessness. And that's part and parcel of how we were as a child. I mean, I always look through, I mean, how I was as a child. And likewise, now, like how we just discussed, we're just trying to, I mean, escape from it. I mean, trying to be an adult. I mean, we are shying away from not to show nervousness to everyone. But then we need someone to help us. And it could be ourselves, it could be someone, our friends, family.
So you try to say that we should show our nervousness. We should be, wouldn't it be vulnerable?
Yeah. Definitely, yes. It depends on, again, the situation and to whom you're going to show nervousness. If I go show my nervousness to during my interview, of course, I'm going to show myself as a vulnerable interviewee. I mean, end of the day, I'm not going to get the job. So at the same time, if I go show my nervousness to my mom, she's going to give me some words of hope.
So basically, showing nervousness depends on who you're showing it to. Is that right?
I mean, that's my fault.
I would say I think you have to be true to yourself, like know yourself, so that if you're nervous, it means you're expecting too much from yourself, but you're not. You don't, like, for example, you're expecting too much from yourself, but in fact you're not there yet, and it's just understanding that, yeah, I'm not there yet. So stop feeling scared like you need to be there already. Just take the steps. Take the steps to get there. I think there's a thing called an imposter's syndrome.
Oh yeah.
That's. I was so glad there's an actual thing that was called imposter syndrome, because I felt like this at work before. Yeah, I was like, am I an expert at my field? Do I actually know what I'm doing? No one. You don't come out of school as an expert. You get taught like the general things, and when you go into, like, for example, I went into like a pharmaceutical firm. There's no way I would have known how asthma pumps are built or anything like that. That doesn't mean I'm an imposter, and that's what imposter syndrome is. It's feeling like you should know this when you don't actually know, and I think these things, talking about these things, are quite useful because it makes more people like feel.
Do you think it's more so when you're nervous, is it more about us identifying it and then channelizing it to come out of it? Because see, nervousness, I honestly think nervousness can be good in some sense. That's to some point. Like anything can be good to some point. Nervousness can really help me in my interviews to be the best of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if I'm not nervous, sometimes I'm not the best.
They're not going to give you your best.
Yeah. So sometimes it really helps me. But at the same time, sometimes it goes to procrastination. Sometimes it goes to me
so
not...
you need a right balance, yeah?
Right balance. So sometimes I want... You know how some people can suppress their fear and their anxiety, and
Yeah.
you know, then it keeps going. But it's good if they can get the task done. But what if the task doesn't get done? And this, you know, because at some point, all this is going to pour out anyway. Even if you suppress it, at some point it's going to pour out. So if the task is not completed, then you're not successful there. So I think instead of suppressing it, I think the best way would be to find a balance of what level of nervousness is good for me and what level is not.
Yeah, you
Like-
need to know
okay.
yourself, man.
Okay, let's put it this way. You know, in sports, in my opinion, in sports, you know, they get asked in the mics, you know, like, are you nervous all the time? The answer they always give is like, no, I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited to.
especially like underdogs. Like, imagine there's a really strong team, and they always ask the weak team.
Yeah.
They're like,
Are you nervous?
you're
Are you
playing this
scared?"
team. Do you not feel nervous? Are
They,
you
they're
not
trying to
nervous?"
intimidate them, you know,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Don't be excited."
Yeah,
be
they're like,
excited.
why should we feel nervous? It's only them. It's only Barcelona.
It's
It's
only
only Real Madrid. Now we're West Ham. We can beat them.
No, you're gonna get a lot of comments on this, man. Loud is loud.
West Ham was sick, guys. My local club.
Oh no. Okay. So there was this thing called mental imaginary. It's a theory how before they got out to whatever sports they're trying to play, they meditate or they imagine either them winning the cup or them doing a specific skill that they practice. So they meditate on it. They imagine. Like me, before I do this podcast, I imagine myself sitting here today. I imagine you saying, I was really nervous today, trust me. But like, I imagine, even now I'm nervous, but I
hit it well, bro.
No, I
can't
think
even
that
tell.
meditation is such a good skill. When I learned about it, I was like, it's such a good skill that everyone can use before they do something,
It's a lovely
you know,
Important.
yeah,
It's a lovely
important.
point.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the very same point that came to my mind of thinking about nervousness. I mean, one of the ways in which we can tackle it, of course, meditation, I mean, makes you calm. You know how to control and bring that balance. And like you just said, everyone has a different threshold of nervousness. Probably you might be really doing well when you're nervous. Someone might be really doing bad when they're nervous. I mean, probably if they are showing a lot of nervousness. I mean, that threshold depends on person X and Y. It differs to every single person.
Mm-hmm.
So then, how do we tackle it? I believe, yeah, of course, meditation makes you stay calm, makes you bring in that balance of controlling your anxiety, controlling your nervousness. I mean, the moment you're able to do that control, I mean, you're having the upper hand on this in a situation.
Yeah,
That's when you can actually
Yeah.
perform your best.
Who was it? I don't recall who said it, but someone once said, we feel nervous because we're kind of wondering if we can control our life, control our outcome. Because we are nervous because we're scared of losing.
Yeah.
So we want to control
Failure
the outcome.
and all
Yeah,
that.
failure and all that.
Yeah.
So like you said, but if we can control this nervousness, then we have more chance of winning anyway because we, you know what I mean?
And I
Like,
feel
it's
like meditation is one part of it. Like,
Yeah,
you know, having,
yeah.
I mean, doing meditation gives you that, I mean, ability
like
to...
putting yourself
yeah.
back together, you know, concentrating on what you want to do out there, you know, instead of looking at the negatives, look at all the skills you have,
Right,
look at all the positives you have, look at how good you're going to do it out there, and yeah, go with that energy, that excitement, that positiveness, you know. That was my motivation to, you know, talk on this topic. So yeah, thank you guys for joining. So hopefully at least us and whoever is seeing, we will, when we approach a new task next time, we will
Stay positive.
approach it with a positive mindset, meditate, focus
it.
before we jump in the task. That's it.
If you're stuck in a cave, smile.
What kind of
Don't be
wisdom? Wisdom,
No, you gotta be
wisdom.
positive. Don't sit down.
Well, so it's a wrap.
It's alright, guys.
Stay positive.
What's the name called again? DMC, yeah.
DMC.
Come on, guys.
We need
Meaningful.
What does DMC
conversations.
mean? What does DMC mean?
Deep,
Deep,
meaningful
meaningful conversations.
conversations.